G'day legends, and welcome to another special episode of The War Room. And today I have the absolute pleasure of breaking down one of the greatest mixed martial artists our company has ever seen. One of the most unique and special fighters to ever grace the octagon. Some call him the modern day Anderson Silva, and they should. Some call him the middleweight Charles Oliveira, and they should. However, he seems to have the striking and the head movement of Rafael Fiziev as well. Some people say that he is the underdog of underdogs. Some people say that with the most finishes in the middleweight division via submission, he might be considered one of the GOATs, certainly above an Arman Sarukian. Some people call him a hero, a national hero. I just call him GM3 and our little bloody underdog. And this week at UFC 319, GM3 will be stepping into the octagon once again to face a marauder from Poland. And once again, it'll be the Americans having to hold it down against the Eastern forces of Europe. And GM3 is the hero that the Americans will be sending in. We're going to be looking at some of the moments that make GM3 one of the most dangerous fighters in the UFC, ladies and gentlemen. And it's not just the submissions. Everybody knows about the submissions. But did you know that GM3 actually started off doing Taekwondo? That is why his leg kicks to the stomach, they seem to be the same as a lance hitting a jouster on a horse without any armor on. That's what it's been compared to by being hit with the leg kick of GM3, because he's not just the submissions. No, he came up understanding every facet of mixed martial arts. He did Taekwondo first, then he got into grappling. Are you aware that GM3 has shared the mats with Craig Jones himself, the anti-Dagestani himself? And some people say watching that battle is akin to reading stories of the old Greek gods battling the Titans from below. Yes, Craig Jones might have gotten away with the win, but I hear secret talks down at the Australian pubs that Craig Jones says to the boys he has never been pushed so hard in his entire career. Because that's the thing with GM3. Even when you're beating GM3, winning against GM3, that is what he wants you to think. There's the striking, the Taekwondo. There's the Jiu-Jitsu that we all know about. You don't break records without being good at Jiu-Jitsu. Charles Oliveira hasn't got as many submissions as GM3 does. But it's the fact that his guard is always waiting to snap down on you like a Venus flytrap. When you think you have GM3 down and out, that is when the game is just beginning, man. Because what happens is round 3, GM3. He puts the 3 in 3. And when you are ground and pounding, that's what he wants. He's not Paul Craig just fluking submissions. Oh no, he's falling into open guard, allowing you to come to him, overextending yourself, and that's when it happens. The end. GM3 has only ever lost to the best of the best. He's only ever lost to the Khamzat Chimaevs of the world, the Craig Joneses of the world. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, the Rainier de Riddlers, double one championship champion. What a mouthful, one championship, sorted out. But do you understand what I'm saying to you? Craig Jones, RDR, Khamzat Chimaev, you've got to be the elite of the elite to be able to get one over on GM3. Let's break down some of the things that make GM3, GM3. Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the fights themselves. Now, everything with GM3 starts with the physique. Look at the deltoids. Just look at them. The way the shoulders arch and pop, that means that he can just throw out that jab like a piston, like an engine firing off a block. The jab is something that you have to worry about. Then, of course, you've got the slender hips of GM3. This is what allows him to arch and open up that guard like the Venus flytrap I talked about before, which is what so many people get caught in, as we will dive in further to GM3's career here. But like I said, GM3 started off doing Taekwondo, so it's really the kicks that open up the entire game for GM3. On a little side note, I once went to a local wood chopping competition just for something to do. And bloody hell, GM3 just wandered down from the stands and decided that he was going to participate. Didn't have an axe, just started leg kicking the shit out of the stump, and lo and behold, GM3 had actually won that competition, mate. It was wonderful to see, yet another win for GM3. But let's have a look at this, right? The kick just darts out, does the kick. Bang! Right in the gut, and you can see that crumple the ribs of Edmund Shabazian, and he knows that he's in trouble here. Edmund feels it now. Oh my lord, I've got to do something to really step on the gas tank here, because you're in GM3's world now, buddy. You better get out of there. Next up, we are going to be looking at GM3's ability to seamlessly transition from the stand-up realm once he has picked them apart with a devastating jab, once he has destroyed the target with the low kicks. Now we're going to see how GM3 is able to transition seamlessly into the ground game in ways that Charles Oliveira, like I said, could only dream of. Here you'll see GM3 luring Shabazian in. There's just been a heated exchange, and GM3 is now going to create space to the right, absolutely beautifully, dropping his hands to try and create a false sense of security for Edmund Shabazian, very similar to how Masvidal did Ben Askren. And then GM3 drops down to change levels. It's horrible that ESPN didn't give us a better camera angle. GSP drops down to change levels and throws himself down onto the ground. Masterful move here from GM3, and he's on the single leg. Do you see that? So he's gone from the hands down. Shabazian has rushed in. GM3 is instantly on the single leg. And then from the single leg, he pulls back and transitions into perfect Anthony Smith guard. This is making Shabazian gas himself out, but this is where the genius of GM3 starts to unfold like origami. He turns from Anthony Smith guard and begins to open up the legs, gets the feet on the hips, and you're in his world now, Shabazian. This is GM3's world. Good stuff, Fight Pass and ESPN. Really good HD here. Can't wait to go to Paramount. And bang, just when you thought that you had GM3 down and that he was in survival mode, oh no mate, it's call an ambulance for yourself, because now you're in GM3's guard. You have been tricked into entering the guard of one of the most prolific submission artists of the modern era. Now the fight plays out much this way for the rest of the round, but eventually Shabazian gets a little bit too confident with GM3, and exactly what you expect to happen does happen, mate. Classic GM3. He works his way back up onto the feet. Shabazian has had one too many punches thrown on the turtle-like guard that is GM3. The power is going from his mustache all the way to his fists. And also, I just want you to notice here, look at the apex. Notice how there are no women around. This isn't because the Apex has brought in some sort of Sharia law. No. It's just that when GM3 is in the Apex, they try and get the women out of there as quickly as possible. Because if you have any women still in there, you've got to come in with a cleanup crew and a bunch of mops. There simply aren't enough towels, buckets, and drying equipment in the Apex to have women around the cage while GM3 and that mustache is in there. But Shabazian has fallen victim to yet another GM3 4D chess game. He has tried to wear himself out by following GM3 down to the ground where he is at his most dangerous, and GM3 throws the easiest takedown you've ever seen, straight on the hips. And look at the concentration in the eyes. He knows exactly what is coming next. Turns Shabazian over, and you can already see it coming. You can already see it. This is the exact same way my daddy taught me how to wrestle crocodiles up in Queensland, mate. Out there in the khaki shorts following Big Steve Irwin. We went through the transitions the exact same way. And you tell me, what can you see in Shabazian's eyes here? Fear. Fear. You see fear. Fear. The look of a man who knows he has been GM3'd. And next thing you know, it's going to be all over. Once again, ESPN and Fight Pass showing just how wonderfully they deliver top-tier content for $1,000 a year if you actually spend money on everything. Really good stuff. And there it is. Fear submission, and it is over. GM3 locks in yet another submission. And quite frankly, Shabazian is lucky that GM3 let it go, because the stories that I've heard about the training room, he might walk around with a bit of a smile, but I tell you what, GM3 is one of the scariest human beings to ever enter a gym. It's actually hard for him to find training partners because people will just cower away, knowing the kind of rage that GM3 brings in. Also notice, very clearly, a broken rib. That is meant to be one rib that is snapped into two pieces from the leg kick that I showed you guys earlier before. Once again, mixing in the Taekwondo martial arts with the Jiu-Jitsu, making GM3 just a scary monster. Now, how does all this pertain to this weekend's fight? Well, dear viewers, do you know and I know that he is going in there against Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. And what is Mikhail Oleksiejczuk's biggest weakness? What is it? We all know it's grappling. It's submissions. You have got a man with the heart of GM3, which has been equated to the heart of an elephant. It is that big. To Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, whose limbs are noodles. I mean, if Kevin Holland can take you down, I'm sorry to bring this up, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, but if Kevin Holland can get you in this situation, then we all know what's going to happen. I mean, Kevin Holland has been honest that his entire career is one giant LARP. He's there just to make money, to shoot 45-70s, and to play 2K while ignoring his baby mamas and his children while they cry downstairs. That is nothing to the crafty vet skills that GM3 brings. The absolute samurai locked-in mindset that GM3 has. Nothing compared to GM3. And if Kevin Holland is doing this to Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, then GM3 won't just be snapping the arm like Kevin Holland did, he'll be ripping both arms off and walking them back into the woods to build some sort of arm castle is what GM3 is going to be doing. I think it just goes to prove that there'll be nowhere that Oleksiejczuk is safe. He'll be getting picked apart on the feet with the kicks. When it does go to the ground, GM3 will be able to destroy him. And never forget, GM3 only loses to the elite of the elite. And if he is still alive, there is still a chance that he can win. I want to draw your attention finally to the GM3 versus RDR fight. RDR, two-time one championship champion. Not two-time, two Division 1 championship champion. Now, there was a moment in the first round where GM3 was pulling his standard, I'm going to trick you into following me into the ground. RDR had clipped him, GM3 had rolled with the punch perfectly and landed on his back open, which is why I call him the middleweight Charles Oliveira. Now, look at this. I think you'll find this very interesting because a lot of people overlook it. Notice this. There are 2 seconds left on the clock. GM3 has gone into his open. RDR makes the silly mistake of following him down to the ground. Right? RDR is like, fine, I'll play the game with GM3, and I think we can all again, no women at the Apex, notice that. Again, I think we can all see the energy coming out of GM3, the build-up, the aura, like Goku against Cell. He understands that this is about to be a massive win. 0 seconds left on the clock, and look, GM3 is turning into that bottom leg. He's got it. He's got it. If there was another 10 seconds on the clock, I can almost guarantee, in fact, I would put my daughter's life on this. If there was another 10 seconds on the clock, we'd be looking at an absolutely blown apart heel from RDR. Torn MCL, torn ACL, his heel would be ripped to shreds. What saved RDR in this fight was merely that GM3 ran out of time in this round. Otherwise, GM3 would have shattered every single ligament in that right leg. Every single one. And there we are. I think I have proven pretty conclusively that a pick against GM3 this weekend is a pick against sanity itself, boys. Thank you so much for joining me on this very special episode of The War Room. I will see you all next time. Have a good one, boys. Goodbye.